YouTube, what's happening? It's Friday, July 19th. As you can see, we are back, baby. We got 14 baseball games to talk about today. Drop a like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. A little side note, if you see your boy glistening a little bit, you see some sweat on the face, I'm in Central Florida. And my AC went out yesterday, so I'm struggling through that right now. It's hot in here. But the only thing hotter than that was me in the first half. That's right. You can see 67 units in the first half of baseball. We had it up to 82 at one point. We kind of limped into the break, but hey, we'll take what we could take. So there's a lot of people out there that would love to be up 67 units in the first half of baseball. So we will take it anytime we can. So second half starts right now. We got 14 games. Drop a like, share, subscribe. Let's jump to that first game right now. First game, Arizona, Chicago. You see the Cubs are favored. They over under 7.5. If you don't know what I'm looking at, this is Outlier. Outlier is who I work with. They give me the odds. They give me the props. It's awesome. If you've seen any of my videos, I've been using them recently. They are amazing. There is a free trial in the link in the description. You click it, you get a free week. You try it out. You get to see all the cool stuff. You can see all the books it works with. They just added Bet365. Hopefully they add Hard Rock soon. And you got all your major books here. You can see everything here. It's awesome. It's a free week. Who doesn't like free stuff? I know I like free stuff. So hey, check it out. Link in the description. So this is Outlier. You can see 7.5 as a total with the Cubs being favored. Popping over to the bats, we see 51.6% NRFI based on what they've done this season. Before the break, both teams were pretty hot with the bats. 8 runs with 291 for Arizona, 5 runs for 280 for the Cubs. Popping over the pitchers, Steele's pitching for the Cubs, and we know dude's a beast. We can see the numbers. He's been on fire. He's been in fuego. He has been hotter than I am in my house right now with no AC. So you can see the numbers. Dude hasn't had a bad game here recently. Nelson has had a couple bad games, 10-6 there and a 6-5 there. Outside of that, his numbers have been good. So he's more up and down. Steele's more consistent, which we like to see. So just on this alone, with the bats being here, I'm not taking a NRFI because the two offenses were too hot. I don't trust Nelson completely with these numbers. So we're not going to take the NRFI. We're not going to take a total. 7.5 is enticing. I will say that, but I just can't. Because Nelson has shown he can pitch great games. Steele does pitch great games, and the bats are both hot, so it kind of cancels out. It's kind of hard to do. I do, however, like the Cubs in this one because of how Steele's pitching, and then the Cubs bats can keep up. I like the Cubs money line, and I've already looked a little bit at the props, so I kind of see how they bat against each other, so I kind of feel good there too. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Pop over to Outlier. Nelson's pitching against the Cubs. How have the Cubs done against Nelson in their career? You can see the numbers. They haven't faced him too much. Nothing stands out. Happ is 2 for 3. Swanson's, you can see the numbers. Green means above compared to season stats. Red's below. Basic stuff here. No home runs. But we look at how the Cubs done against righties this year. The numbers, there's some green out there. There's nothing too bad. So everything looks pretty decent out here. Looking at the props for Ryan, we see that walks, no, if anything, maybe underwalks might be a play. And I'll show you every stat, even if I take it or not, because you might want to take this. And you might say, ooh, I like the walk, so I'm going to take the under. Have fun. I'm not going to do it. Strikeouts, they show you the positive EV on this. Expected EV. They expect 115, but FanDuel's offering 106. They do cool things like that. So this is what strikeouts. No. Hits. You can see the numbers here. Nothing's really standing out that I really want to jump on. Earned runs, no. This could easily be a pitcher's battle, let's be honest. And pitching outs, he easily can go to 16.5 for a reason. I don't know, I'll pass on those. Look at Steele's numbers. Steele versus the Diamondbacks in the career. There's been a couple home runs. It's Thomas and Gurriel. I can't say that name. So I'm going to try to fake it. And you can see numbers like, Marte, Mr. All-Star, trash. He won it $182 against Steele in his career. Not good. You can see the numbers there. Let's look at the props. Pitching outs is the first thing. Pitching outs is definitely something I like. I think he can easily go. I don't see him getting rocked. That's what 18 outs would be 6 innings. Yeah, I can see him going. So PO for Steele. Definitely adding that to the list. Strikeouts. Oh, why? How? Arizona was middle of the road strikeouts too. That's interesting. 4 against Baltimore. Before that, he was balling out. Okay. It's the okay. So I'm just gonna add everything we talk about the game. I'm gonna add everything and then I'll narrow it down what I'm taking. Kind of like I was doing home runs before the break. So this makes it easier. Hits, Nah, not doing hits. And earned runs and walks. No. Okay, so we have three things. We have, for me on my list, I have the Cosmoon, I have steal, pitching oots, and steal strikeouts. I made a rule going forward. I'm not doing more than 2 plays per game, no matter what the plays are. So right now, of the three, the least confident I'm in is the Cosmoon. I'm taking it off. It's gone. So for this one, I mean, 9 out of 10, you missed it by a half. I gotta take that. I mean, right? You gotta take that, right? Ain't that it feels good. So, oh yeah, yeah. And you see where the books what they offer. I mean, it's -1 something. I get it, but I mean, come on, profit's good. Profit's profit. And I know people that play like underdog and prize picks and whatnot. They take it too. So yeah, I'll be taking that. And the outs, I mean, he missed it here against Cincy, but other than that, it was a 5-7 game. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. So, yeah, okay. So for this one, we're going to take steals, outs, and Ks. That's all we're going to take and move on to the next game. Game 2, we got Phillies, Pirates. You can see Phillies are a pretty heavy favorite, 8.5 is your total. Looking at the bats, 49.3 Murphy based on what they've done this year. Pittsburgh's on a 4-game winning streak. That's something to note too. 5.3 runs while batting 207 for Philly. So they were getting runs, but the bats weren't that hot before the break. They could have been limping in. There's a lot of factors here. So Pittsburgh was getting 6.3 runs a game while batting 279. Pittsburgh's bats were pretty hot, and the strikeouts, so you can see them there. So looking at the pitchers today, we have Martin Perez going out there for Pitt. You could see he got roughed up. I thought he was going to have a great game against Milwaukee, and then Milwaukee did what Milwaukee does. They do things like this in the first half. They put up 9 hits and 5 runs. So, and he got roughed up here. I mean, he's up and down. He's a roller coaster. What can we say? And then going up against Aaron Nola, you can see his numbers. Nothing. I mean, he got roughed up here, but outside of that, he puts up pretty decent numbers. 3.38 is about where he's at normally on his ERAs. Nothing. I mean, he's been striking out a good bit here recently too, so that's something we might want to look at. That might be a good prop to take. Perez hasn't been striking. They haven't faced each other recently, so okay, nothing good. So basically, here I would take Nola I would lean Nola already as a pitching. Batting, I would lean Pittsburgh, so they cancel each other out. So we're not looking at the money line. Looking at totals, what was it, 8.5? I don't. No. No, not when Philly was batting this cold before the break. Can't do it. And I don't trust Philly to get the over, and I don't trust Perez to keep it under 8.5. So we'll pass on that. And we can't take a Murphy with a pitcher like Perez here. I mean, if you're giving up this and this, you most likely gave up a run in the first inning. Just saying. I don't even have to look it up. I just know. So, yeah, we'll pass on those. So we will pop over to, we'll look at some props and see the matchups a little closer and do all this real time, because why not? Perez against Philly history. How has Philly done historically? Mr. Home Run Derby himself here got a home run in 16 at bats, 500 average. That's something to look at. That's something good. You can see the numbers here. Trey Turner likes him. Casting up, the starters are okay. Philly might tee off on this guy a little bit. I'm just saying. That's look at these numbers. There ain't many at bats. It's a very small sample size with the data, but that still tells you things. How does Philly do against lefties, you ask? Let me show you. Here's the lefties. You can see. I mean, Harper's 316, 324, 333, 326. I mean, Castellanos 238. I mean, but. Yeah, you can see the numbers there. Let's look at props real quick for him. Strikeouts, I can't touch this because I think he might get blown up a little bit. So it makes me want to lean Pittsburgh on the money line. That's what it's making me lean now. Before I was off, but now I might be back on. Hits, or he might just give a bunch of hits. That's something we might do because he's facing Philly, and Philly might just tee off on him a little bit. I think they will. So, yeah, what we got? 6 hits allowed. What's your earned runs? 3 earned runs. So many options. It's like Amazon Prime Day. What do I want? Okay. And let's look at his counterpart, Nola. So to match up first, we want Nola against Pitt. History. How has Pitt and Nola faced each other done? There's a home run there. There's a home run there. There's a home run there. You can see the averages. Some of them aren't that good. McCutcheon's got a 0.091 average historically against Nola. Yeah, Nola might shove today. Should he not? Look at these numbers. Ooh, okay. And how does Pittsburgh do against righties this year? Not bad. Nothing's really standing out. But I don't see no 300s, though. That ain't good. We saw those when I go back to Philly. We see lots of 300s, but I go to Pitt, we don't see no 300s. Oh, that's not good. Let's look at some props, see if anything stands out. We want overs. Hits, no. Strikeouts. I mean, recently he's been balling, but that's a trend. I don't like that. So we'll pass on that. Earned runs, I can't do. Walks, no. Oots, no. Okay, so I can't do those either. So, okay, so I don't like any NOLA props. Let's throw that out there. Looking at Perez, again, there were some things I did like. Okay. We're going back to the screen real quick. I think Philly wins now because I think they get to Perez. I think they beat him up a little bit. I think they get the win. I don't think Perez has a good game. So based on what we saw historically versus the batters and everything. So Philly is going to go in the money line parlay. They are going to be a money line play as well. And we come back over to the props. We can see which one. Do I want to take one of these? I don't trust him to get strikeouts, but I don't want to take under 3.5. Hits 6 is high. I don't know. And earn runs too. I think we'll leave props alone. I think all we're going to do is take Philly on the money line in this one and just move on to the next game. Next game, Cincinnati, Washington. You can see Cincinnati's a slight favorite. Over-under is currently sitting at 9. Let's look at the bats. We see 61.3 Nerfy based on what's been happening this year with these pitchers. Not a shot. Ain't happening. Both bats are hot too. 6.3 while batting 255 for Cincinnati. 4.7 while batting 295. So yeah, Nerfy's up. Nerfy, no shot on that one. For pitchers, we got Montas going out there. He got roughed up by Colorado and Chicago. So nothing's really, I mean, no, yeah, I'm not leaning Cincinnati at all now. Even though PC himself is pitching over here, PC, I will give him credit, is better than Montas just on his most recent stats. I mean, he's been getting a little roughed up a little recently. I mean, he was great beforehand, but ever since the Mets, he was great. So, and PC is on my list of dudes I just don't mess with. I just can't do it. Can't do it. Can't play with him. Can't win with him. Can't do it. So, yeah, so PC's on that list. So right now, leaving everything alone. But we will look at props, see if anything stands out. And we're going to start with Montas here in his matchup. We want Montas. We want Washington. How has Frankie done against Washington batters? Well, you can see not many at bats, so nothing stands out. No home runs. There's an RBI, but nothing there. And how does Washington hit righties, you ask? Well, here you go. I got you. Garcia's almost 300. Outside of that, not many. 370, but not many at bats. Ramirez, 252. It's all average. Nothing stands out. For props, walks is a thing we might look at. The median's 2.5. The average is 2.3. The number's 1.5. It's, yeah, I think over 1.5 walks might be a play. Strikeouts is not going to be a play. Hits, not going to be a play. And earned runs could be, but that's to put trust in Washington's bats. I don't know. Pass on that. And then we look at Corbin over here. Corbin versus the Reds historically is all green. That's not a good sign for Corbin now, is it? You can see Slater, 16 at bats, 438. India, 400. 500. Elliott's 365 on 8 at bats, including a home run. I mean, if you want to, I mean, 7 RBIs for Slater. And we don't even have Mr. Hines here. He ain't even joined the party yet. I think he's about to today. Now, it is against lefties. Now, how does Cincy hit lefties? Hines ain't good against lefties. Let's just be honest. He crushes righties, but them lefties are getting him. So he might not do too well. But, you know, you can see the numbers. India's 306. Marte's 294. So you see your numbers here. 400 for, I mean, it's only 10 at bats. So you have it there. Let's look at Corbin's stats. Earned runs, 2.5. I mean, over might be a play. Strikeouts, ooh, we got some expected value here. Should be 176. We're getting 136 on FanDuel in this one for over 3.5. I can't take 3.5 against Corbin. Corbin might not make it 3.5 innings, so I can't do that. Hits, you can see the hits there. And walks, pitcher walks. He's been better on his walks, I'll give him that. And then outs. Oh, he is consistent. No matter, he's going to pitch 15, at least 15. Is he going to hit 15.5? So he's going to go 5 innings. We know that much. No matter what happens, he's going 5 innings. Can he make 6? Well, sometimes that says no. So, all right, we'll leave that alone. So for me, nothing is standing out in this game. I don't want to touch anything with the bats. I don't want to touch a prop. I was leaning Montas walks a little bit, but I think I'm going to leave that alone. I don't like this game. I mean, PC's pitching. That's kind of why I don't like it, but other things. So for me, If you don't feel good, just pass on it. That's what we'll do. Pass and move to the next game. Next up, we have Tampa in New York. You can see New York is pretty heavily favored. The over-under is currently sitting at 8. Looking at the bats, 40% Nerfy based on what they've done this year. But with these pitchers, we might actually be able to do something on the Nerfy in this one. 2 runs a game, 232 average is not good. That's great for a Nerfy. 5 runs a game, 238, that's average. Only thing that stands out here is Eflin faced the Yankees in his last outing. You can see 7 innings. He lost, yeah, they lost the game, but 7 innings, 4 hits, and an earned run. That's great numbers. Love to see that. Now, typically the batters have an advantage the second time you face them, especially when it's really close together. But when you pitch this great, I can see you doing it again, especially for 1 inning. You know what I'm saying? And you're going up against Cole, who is up and down. You can see, but I mean, yeah, it's Cole. That's what you expect out of Cole. So let's look over at the outlier. So far I'm leaning Nerfy heavily, but we want to look a little closer at the pitcher. So let's start with Cole and his matchup against Tampa. Historically, I mean, Tampa hasn't done too good. Series got 2 home runs and 2 hits, but that's all he has in 10 at bats. You can see nothing. I mean, Diaz is 318 for 44 at bats, but nothing is really standing out. And then the news came out yesterday that Tampa is going to be shopping a lot of players for the All-Star break. I mean, for the trade deadline. That's going to throw some things in there too. So, not liking this. So, how does Tampa do against righties? Well, here you go. There's a lot of red. There's only 1-300. It's 303 for Rosario. But other side of that, nobody's even close. So, I'm feeling good about this now. Let's look at the props. Cole. We only want to do 2024. We don't want to see anything from last year. So earned runs, you can see he's been up and down, but he's had a couple good games. Strikeouts, he's getting back up there. Hits, he's been giving us some hits, but that's fine. Walks, nothing. Outs, and he's starting to climb the outs up a little bit. I want to see another game of 18 before I take an outs for him. So I thought about taking this one today, but I'm going to lay off at that. Now, Eflin, his matchup. Let's go Eflin, Yankees. Eflin. How have the Yankees done against Eflin in the career? You can see Soto's 452 and 31 at bats, 2 homers, 10 RBIs. I mean, Soto home run might have to make the list. Just hopefully it's not the first inning. That's all I gotta say. So Soto home run definitely might go on that list. Outside of that, nothing's really standing out too much. Yeah, Soto's the only real weapon because Judge is terrible. $1.33. Yeah, no. So we'll leave that alone. And how does Yankees hit righties? You can see the numbers here. Judge is 304, Soto's 289. No one else is even close. Nothing else really stands out. Rice 259. So we'll pass on those. We'll look at the props. Walks. I mean, what? Under what? Can I get Eflin under? Eflin under walks 1.5. Why is it 1.5 and why is it 145? At BetMGM. If you can see it on here, you can see it anywhere offshore, which is what I like to see. So, yeah, I like that. That's beautiful. This is a bad line because he has. Let's look. Yeah, all of last year he gave up 2 walks 6 times. This year he did it there. Yeah. No, I'm gonna take that. Strikeouts, let's look just in the last 10. We don't care about all of it. No. Hits, earned runs, outs. Yeah, no. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So for this one, I'm taking the Eflin under 1.5 walks. That's just crazy. That's a crazy line. I will take that. And then also, we're going to take the Nerfy. We're going to hope the only thing I'm concerned about is Soto. It's the only thing. Now, if Soto hits a ball in the first inning, hey, good job. He hit my home run prop. Cool. But outside of that, no. We'll take the Nerfy, we'll take Eflin, and we'll throw Soto into the home run grouping that we'll sort through at the end. So, next game. All right, next up, Detroit and Toronto. We got basically a pick 'em. You can get better odds if you want to take Detroit, but it's a pick 'em either way for me. 7.5 is total. Look at the bats, 52.3 based on the Nerfy, based on what they've done this year. You can see 6 runs a game for 306 for Detroit before the break, 4.3 for 270. Both teams are pretty hot before the break. Let's look at the pitchers. We got Bassett going out there for Toronto, 352 with a 143. You see the numbers, gave up some runs here and there, but before that he was pretty good. So his last 2 outings have been his worst outings. If you call these aren't bad outings, but if you want to call it those, you can. Has not faced Detroit here recently. And then Flaherty for Detroit going out there with a 313 with a .98. You can see his numbers. Outside this game against LA, he's been pretty good. So you see those stats. So far, I would lean Flaherty, but Bass is good. These are good numbers. So to me, pitchers, there's not much of an advantage. I would take Flaherty slightly. With the bats, I would take Detroit slightly. They are on the road now, so and the odds are to pick them. It's nothing standing out so far. These are all slight leans. Let's look a little closer. Flaherty's pitching against the Toronto. We'll see how they've done recently or in the career. 1 home run for him, 1 for him. The averages aren't that good. There's nothing standing out. Bichette's 2 for 5. That doesn't mean much. So nothing here stands out. And how does Toronto hit righties, you ask? Well, here you go. You can see the numbers. We got 326 for him. Decent, but nothing standing out too much. Look at props. Strikeouts is 5.5, and before the break, Toronto was 3rd in strikeouts, so that's going to be a no for me, dog. You can see pretty good hits, earned runs, walks, outs. Okay, maybe. Let's look at Bassett. Bassett versus Detroit history. McKinstry has 2 home runs and 13 at bats. That's interesting. Green's got 1 and 6. Baez 1 and 5. So you can see the stats, and they're batting pretty good against him. So I'm already leaning. I'm leaning Detroit now based on this information because it looks like it hasn't been many at bats, but they all do pretty good against Bassett. So that right there makes me want to take Detroit. Let's look at the props. All we have are strikeouts. That's all we have for him for some reason. So I'm not saying that. So all right. So far, all I want to do is take Detroit. So based on what we saw, the history for Bassett versus Detroit hitters. So Detroit money line is on the list. We're not going to take a total. We're not going to take the props that we saw. We're not going to take a nervy, none of that. So all I'm doing, Detroit money line, move to the next game. All right, next up, San Diego and Cleveland. You can see Cleveland is a moderate favorite, 7.5 total. Looking at the bats, 42.9 nerfy based on what they've done this year, 2.7 and 260 for San Diego for the break. Cleveland 1.3 at 192. If there was a team ready for the break, it was Cleveland more than anyone. Look at those numbers. They are atrocious. Nerfy's 42, but based on these offenses, if they're still this cold with the pitchers we have today, I think I might be taking a Nerfy. Let's pop over and see the pitchers. We got Waldron going out there. He got roughed up a little bit. Ever since everybody kept talking about how great that pitch was he has, I think it's a knuckleball. He was great until they started talking about it. And then they highlighted it and people were like, oh, really? Let's see how good it is. So decent numbers. And then Bibee, not BB, Bibee, I learned 5'4", 6'4". He's been, I mean, yeah, July has not been their month, but you can see the offenses aren't their month either. So for me, with the pitchers, I mean, so they're about the same. I'd be fine with either one. If you had to tell me take one of these, I'm fine with it. With the bats, I would take San Diego, but based on because how bad Cleveland's been here recently. So let's look at the props, see if anything stands out. Bibee going up against San Diego. Historically, no home runs. Good averages though, but not many at bats, so nothing stands out. How does San Diego hit righties? Well, let me show you. You can see we got 325. For it's errors. I mean, come on, that's what he does. Surprise is only 325, so it should be much higher. So you can see the stat. No one, we got 3 from Merrill, but other than that, Profar 287. So you can see those. Let's look at the props real quick. Bibee over 5 strikeouts is only at the Prize Picks right now, apparently, because that is a silly number to have. 5. That's it. Come on. Hits, earn runs, no. Walks, no. Ooh, walks have been popping off. Outs, 185, we're getting 144. I don't trust those. So, and then Waldron, we'll look over here. How has never faced anybody from Cleveland, apparently, ever. How does Cleveland hit righties? Let me show you. You can see Naylor has 17 homers. No one. There's a 333 for Quan, who is a beast, as we know. That might be a nice little hit parlay, dude. But other than that, nothing standing out too much. And we can see the props. Outs for Waldron are pretty high. Basically, if you think Cleveland's going to keep struggling, he might come out here and just shove and get at least 18, which I think I might go with because that looks pretty good. Because Cleveland's bats, you saw how bad they were. Let me show you if you forgot. They were terrible. So if they stay this bad. So Waldron over 17.5 POs, pitchy oots. because 130 we can get plus money. You can get FanDuel plus money, almost straight money everywhere else. So strikeouts, no. Hits, no. Earned runs, he's been kind of bad. Walks, no. All right, so I got what I need. So for this one, I'm gonna do two things. I'm going to take the Waldron over 17.5 pitching outs, but we're also going to rock a Nerfy. I'm going to put my trust in these two pretty good pitchers to do what they do. They're pretty good. I mean, let's be honest. They can 6 quick outs. What's the worst that could happen? And I'm basically fading the bats because you see Cleveland was atrocious before the break. San Diego, they were middle of the road, but they couldn't score runs. And you need to score runs for the Nerfy not to hit. So we'll go with that. So, we saw the pitching matchups. Nothing really stood out. Nothing stood out. So I would give the advantage to the pitchers this one. I'm going to take the Nerfy. I don't feel too great about it. So don't just jump on everything I play. Look at it yourself. I'm taking it because I want more action. But I am taking Waldron 17.5 pitching outs as well. We'll move on to the next game. All right, next up, the Mets and the Marlins. You can see the Mets are a slight favorite on the road. 8.5 is your total. Looking at the bats, 50% Nerfy based on what they've done this year. 6.3 while batting 265 for the Mets. 4.3 for 310 for the Marlins. So overall, Mets had the runs, Marlins had the average. So no real difference in there for me. And they both strike out a ton. That's all I see. So look at the pitchers. We got Cabrera going out there was 8.26 with a 1.59. Gave up a lot of runs against Cincy last time. You can see, other than that, hasn't faced the Mets recently, but he likes to give up runs. So we're expecting I expect at least 4 runs out of him, at least. So that's a good thing for a prop coming up against. Maybe the over, what's the over under again? 8.5. Might look at that too. So, and then Menez going out there for 3.46 with a 1.21. Pretty good numbers overall outside of these couple games down here. But before that, I mean, hasn't faced Miami, and he shut down Pitt pretty good. So there you see the stats. We leave Manaea. Manaea has the obvious advantage of the pitching. For the bats, right now, he would probably take, really? They're about the same. So, all right, so look at the props. Manaea's pitching against Miami. How have they done? Well, Fortes has had 2 at-bats and 2 home runs. That's interesting. So we'll see if that changes. Outside of that, I don't even know if Fortes plays much. I don't know who he is, to be honest. I'm just going to throw him on the list because when you're 2 for 2, third time's a charm, right? We'll see. Fortes from Miami. We'll see if he's even actually a starter. I have no clue. This is just the player, so... Oh, and then Rivera's home run. You can see that. How does Miami hit lefties? Well, let me show you. Fortes does not hit him well, so Fortes is coming right back off that list. Yep, nope. I need somebody that hits lefties good. Rivera, Chisholm. You can see the numbers. Nothing's really standing out. Let's look at the props for him. 17.5 is your oots, your strikeouts, your hits, your earned runs, your walks. Nothing's really standing out for me. I'm not liking any of this. Let's look at Cabrera. Cabrera historically versus the Mets. Oh, Polar Bear has 3 home runs and 12 at bats. I know he didn't do well in the home run derby, but P. Alonso's going on my list. Alonso, New York Mets, just to make sure, because if you got 3 home runs and 12 at bats, yeah, I think if you hit the ball, it's a home run off him. That's all we're seeing, and we know he gives up runs. I think Alonso can help get those runs. Outside of that, no one else has hit a home run. Interesting. So. Nemo's got a 3.3 on 9 at bats. How does the Mets hit righties? Let me show you. You can see nothing's. I mean, Bader's 3.05, but outside of that, 2.39. Mr. Bear himself, 2.36. Nothing stands out. Looking at the props, hits 3.5. I took this hit prop last time over 3.5, and it hit easily. But I mean, the odds tell you it should, but this was an easy hit to the point. I'm going to add that again. Cabrera over 3.5. It's allowed. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So strikeouts, he struck out 7. He's pretty good. So earned runs, yeah. See, it's 1.5 against the Mets. What is this? Okay, over 1.5 earned runs allowed. I'll take that. And walks. No, okay. He's not bad. So basically, if Alonso hits a home run, like I think he might, he's got 3 and 12 at bats, we might be good. Let's see what Manaea's done on his. We already looked at his props. That's right. The heat's getting to me. It's hot in here, like I said. So, all right. So far, I don't like anything from them. with the teams themselves, the Mets are a slight favorite. I am going to take the New York Mets money line in this one. I'm going to leave the we're going to take off the Cabrera earned runs. We're going to take Mets money line and Cabrera over 3.5 hits allowed, nothing else, and move on to the next game. All right, 7 games down, 7 games to go. Game number 8, St. Louis and Atlanta. You can see the Braves are a slight favorite, 7.5 total. Look at the bats, 46.7% based on what they've done this year. 6.3 while batting 311. St. Louis was on fire before the break. Atlanta, 4 runs a game, 232. Atlanta was average for the break, so advantage St. Louis if you keep up with those same trends. Looking at the pitching, Atlanta sending out Schwarzenbach, 4.43 with a 1.16. Has faced St. Louis, gave up 8 hits and 4 earned, and that was not, what was that? Not a month ago, like 3.5 weeks ago. Yeah, that's interesting right there. Sonny Gray did not face the Braves, but you can see what he has done. He's been great. He had a little rough game against Washington, but outside he's been pretty good. 9 hits is concerning, but I mean, not bad. So I would still lean Sonny Gray in these numbers based on what we've seen here. Schwellenbach is, I mean, to be honest, outside of Boston, a couple 4s, those aren't bad numbers. Gray is, they're about the same. Let's be honest. Schwellenbach's pretty decent. So, based on the bats, I still lean St. Louis. Atlanta has shown this is about the highest they've been all season. I mean, they've been just struggling. I mean, you lose Acuna, that doesn't help any, and then you just struggle. So let's look at the props. Let's do some matchups, see what stands out. Schwellenbach versus St. Louis historically. You can see there's only been 1 game, but you can see how they did. So nothing stands out, really. You got Donovan with 2-0. Couple no home runs, only couple RBIs here and there, so it stands out. How do the Cardinals hit the righties? Let me show you. Got a 308 for Wynn, 327 for Burleson, 279 for Donovan. You can see the numbers here. Pretty good. So let's look at the props. Only got strikeouts because he just got announced. So 4.5's the number. We saw St. Louis is quite good right now with the bats. They're top 5 in strikeouts. They're not striking out much. So if you really want to go with this prop, by all means, have fun. I'm not. Pass. Sonny Gray, on the other hand, let's look at his matchup. Sonny Gray versus Atlanta historically. Duvall's got him a home run. Ozuna's got 1 home run. You can see the bats. Ozuna's average is terrible. Arcias average is terrible. Riley's 250. I mean, yeah, I'm already leaning St. Louis hard now. And how does Atlanta hit righties? Well, let me show you. 256, 279. You can see what stands out here. Azuna's 282, but not that great against Sonny Gray. Yeah. All right, let's look at we got strikeouts. 5.5 is your number. You can get it a lot of places. Oh, and fantasies. We don't do fantasy scores. That's just too much. So strikeouts, 5.5 strikeouts against Atlanta, who strikes out a ton. Yeah, I will be adding that to my list. Thank you. So we are going, I'm going with St. Louis money line, and I'm going Gray over 5.5 Ks. It's got to. I got to go with those two. The history makes sense. The averages make sense. If this keeps up like we see, that should make sense. So St. Louis money line, I'm backing Sonny Gray against the Braves. We're fading the Braves bats. Take those 2 next game. All right, next up, we got Baltimore and Tejas. You can see Baltimore slight favorite on the road, 7.5 is your total. Bats, 65.2% nervy based on what they've done this year, because Baltimore they just don't score many runs when they're on the road in the first inning. Just somehow that number was 97% at one point. Now it's 86. They're doing better. 2.7 runs, 218, both bottom 5. Baltimore more like Baltimore less. Am I right? Just kidding. Anyways, terrible joke. Texas, 3 runs a game, 147. Terrible offense. Oh, I mean, I'm thinking nerfy. The offenses have not been good. The pitchers, I mean, we got the all-star starter going out there for Baltimore, Corbin Burns. And 1 inning. I love how they put the all-star game stats on here for you. So you can see 1 inning, 1 hit, and a walk. Yeah. So, and then Evaldi's going out there. Yeah, he's been pretty good recently too. Hasn't faced Baltimore. You have faced Texas. You got 9 hits and an earned run. 9 hits, but only give up 1. That's impressive. You can give up that many hits and not allow a run. Hey, tip of the cap. Good job. So you can see that there. based on the stats, based on the pitchers, and based on the bats, we're going to go Nerfy in this one. We got to do it. I love me some Baltimore Nerfies. That's what I must say. I love them. So, let's see. Side, I'm not liking a side. Both pitchers, I mean, Burns was the starter. In my opinion, Screwball should have been the starter, and Burns should have been second. But hey, whatever. I'm fine with it. Screwball's going to get traded to somebody for like a silly trade. I know they are this week. It's going to happen. So, yep. So we'll do that. Nervy for sure. I'm not leaning aside. I'm not leaning a total. Am I leaning a total? What's the 7.5? No, I'm not leaning a total. So let's look closer at the teams. Burns against Texas. Historically, has anybody done anything good? Garcia, 1 home run and 3 at bats. Okay. Sager, 1 home run, 7 at bats. 571 average. You can see what they've done here. Not many at bats. Not much to go on here. How does Texas hit righties? Well, here you go. Texas has done nothing standing out. Now the highest 284. I think it is. That's not good. So, wow, you got a bunch of low twos, a couple 284s. That's it. So, look at some props. Earned runs. This is for Burns. Nope. Strikeouts. Wow, he is consistent. Is he not? This is what he does. Hits. I mean, hits allowed might be a thing, but Texas's offense is terrible if they continue the trend that we saw here. They were 30th, and I can't do that. So pass, walks, no, outs. I mean, what? Why 18? You couldn't give me 17 and a half? Come on. Alt line. Only at Prize Picks, of course. Well, if you're on Prize Picks, there you go. That's all I'm saying. Wow. Okay, so we can't do anything with Burns. That's fine. Evaldi against history, we can see no home runs given up, only a few RBIs across the board. Averages, I mean, Mountcastle 333 and 18 at bats, 320 for Hayes. Yeah, Baltimore's doing a little bit better against Evaldi. So, and how does Baltimore hit righties? Well, here you go, 287. We got a 305 for Henderson. You can see the stats there; they stand out. And the props: earned runs, strikeouts are a no, hits are a no, walks are a almost want to go under in this one. And pitching oots, I mean, come on. This is Evaldi going against Baltimore's offense, which is not as good either. I'm already taking a Nerfy. Let's go ahead at Evaldi PO 17.5. I don't need him to go 21. I just need 18. And he got roughed up here. And consistency, and he's off a break. Yeah, give me that. I'll say 17.5 for sure in this one. So we're taking Nerfy, Evaldi over 17 at pitching outs. Nothing else. Next game. All right, next up, we got the White Sox and the Royals. You can see KC's minus 200 is your best number you can find. 8.5 for the total out there. Looking at the numbers, 51.4% Nerfy based on what they've done this year. 2.3 while batting 232 in their last 3 for Chicago. Not that great. KC 3.3, 245, about average. So slightly in KC on that. Looking at the pitching, Flexen's pitching, if he's there, he might get traded this week. Who knows? So for now, he's still there, and he had pretty good numbers. Hasn't faced KC recently, but you see that was his worst game. It was a 9-4, a 6-3, 6-4. If that's your worst game, you're pretty good in my book. So hey, we expect a couple runs, but not much. And Waka's going out here. You can see his numbers. I don't really count anything before June 22nd because then you're going a month back before he pitched again in May. I don't want to. So we're going to stick at these last 4. So 1, 7-1, 2-1, 7-3 against St. Louis. And you saw St. Louis was hot before the break. They were number 1 in average. So you did that. Good job. So to me, Waka has the advantage slightly over Flexen because Flexen's not bad. Let's be honest. So slightly in there and slightly in KC, but not big enough of a lean to have a 200. I just can't do that. So let's look at the props closer. So we're starting with Flexen against KC. You can see what he's done. He's given up 1 home run to Perez, but outside of that, we got a point. We got, not many at bats to really have much of a knowledge here. So look at some props real quick. Walks. He does tend to walk people. But outside of that, he does have a couple games he doesn't. So maybe. Strikeouts? No. Hits? No. Earned runs? And oots. Look at the oots. Oh, his pitch outs have gone up. That is interesting. Someone put me on pitching outs and said you need to look into it. I've been looking into it. It's been pretty nice. So Flexen over 16.5 pitching outs. That's going on a list. I like that. KC's numbers aren't stellar enough to say he gets rocked because he's pretty good. I think he gets this. So Let's look at Waka, see how he's done. You can see the numbers here. How has Chicago hit against Waka? Not much at all. I mean, the thing that stands out is Benintendi has a $182 on 11 at bats. That ain't good. And then Senzel, 13 at bats, nothing. I mean, that's terrible. Sheets, 0.91. Yeah. No, Walker should have a field day with these dudes. And how does Chicago hit righties? There you go. I don't think I showed how the KC hits. So let me show that real quick too. So you can see these numbers. Nothing's really standing out. Let me pop back over to Flexen real quick. Matchup. Flexen, KC, righties. This is how KC hits righties. A lot of red, but I mean, you got a 321 for Bobby Witt, 277. I want to make sure I cover all of this. There you go. So back to Walker on some props. Earned runs is 1.5. I mean, look at this. Dude's been good. Strikeouts. I can't do strikeouts. Hits. No. Walks. No. Oots. No. He's up and down. Oots too. So, all right. So overall, the only prop I like is Flexing over 16.5 pitching outs. I like KC, but I don't like it with 200. That's just too much. No. It's not. It's a slight advantage in batting, a slight advantage in pitching. Flexing's not bad. I'm just going to take Flexing pitching outs and move on to the next game. All right, next game, we got the Giants and the Rockies. You can see San Fran's a pretty moderate favorite on the road. 10.5 is your total in Coors Field. Looking at the bats, 53.4 Nerfy based on what they've done this year. 4.0 runs versus a 260 average for San Fran. 5.7, 250. Both bats, both teams, bit of middle of the road in the average in bats, so nothing's really standing out. Except Colorado is striking out a lot to everyone. They're worst. So let's look at the pitchers. Cal Quantrill's going out there for Colorado. 4.1 with a 135. You can see he hasn't faced San Fran recently, but he had great games. Then he started slipping. Then he gave up a 5. Gave a 5 here. So 10.5 is your total. He might come out and pitch a gem. He might give a 5. We don't know. He's up in there, roller coaster. So his counterpart, Kyle Harrison, 408 with a 136, hasn't faced Rado. Again, we have a big gap between games, between almost a month. So really, all I care about is what have you done? What have you done lately, Eddie? So 5-1, 4-4. Before that, if you really want to go deep, you could see he gives up hits. That's all I'm saying. So nothing. Neither pitchers, they're about the same. Nothing's really standing out for me. The sides on the bats, nothing standing out for me. Hence why San Fran's only 142. I don't really think there's much of an advantage on either side. So totals 10.5. Let's look a little deeper in the prop, see if anything stands out. For Cal Quantrill, we can see against San Fran, he's 1-0. 6 innings pitched. You can see what he's done. You see what the batters have done against him for San Fran. He has 1 bomb. Outside of that, because Tremsky's only batting 210 at bats. Outside of that, you really don't have much stuff because not many stats. And how does San Fran hit righties? Let's talk about that real quick. You can see 263, got a 303 for Fitzgerald, 297 for Wade. You can see the numbers. Let's look at some props. Outs 14.5. 6, that concerns me. You only had 6 last time. That ain't good. I don't like that. So I don't know if I can rock with that. Strikeouts, no. Hits, earned runs. I mean, you gave up 5 earned runs, walks. I don't like your props at all, man. Harrison, we can see he is 2-0, 12 innings pitched, 225 earned run per 9. How has the Rockies done against him? The dudes at bat have not done well, not many home runs, low averages. Tovar's got a 444 and 9 at bats. That's not bad. But only 9 at bats. Come on. Sample size needs to be much bigger. How does Colorado hit lefties? Let's see. We got 301 for Rogers, 306, 291. Colorado does pretty decent against lefties for most people. Outside of that, Cave is the big exception. Cave is terrible. 0.095 in 21 at bats. Ooh, so let's look at the props for Harrison. Earned runs, 3.5. No. Strikeouts. Should be 106. Getting a little bit of value on this if you want to take it. I ain't touching it. You can have fun. Hits, I can't do. Walks, I can't do those there. And pitching outs. Man, that number. Yeah, that's too. So, all right. I don't like any props. I don't like a side because I think they're too equal. I don't like total. 10.5 seems high. But with these offenses and these pitchers, I don't know. To me, there's just too much So I'm going to personally pass on everything in this game and just move on to the next one. All right, next one is going to be quick because we're missing a pitcher in this one. We have Angels and Oakland. Oakland, it's a pick 'em, but we don't know who's pitching for LA, so it kind of makes it hard. Total's 8.5 though. Looking at the bats, we'll show everything. 61.9 or 0.09% Nerfy based on what they've done this year. 3.7 for 213 for the Angels, not that good. Oakland, 9.7 runs a game for a first while batting 295. Oakland bats were absolutely blazing when they went to the plate before the break. So yeah, and they're calling up their like top prospects on the batting side too. So that's interesting. See how that works out. So they're not even striking out much. Oakland was on fire before the break. The break might be the worst thing to happen to them all year. So yeah, they were on fire. So big advantage Oakland before the break. So looking at pitchers, we only have one. We have JP Sears, who, let's be honest, outside of this game, has been pitching pretty great. He faced the Angels, gave up 2 hits and nothing in 5 innings pitched on 4th of July. That was 15 days ago. So outside of that, they've already seen him. He dominated them. I mean, technically the hitter should have an advantage just today, but I mean, really, are you going to have one? Because your pitching, your hitting is terrible, and JP is pitching great. So yeah, so I can show you props a little bit. JP, how has LA hit JP historically? Drury has 2 home runs and 8 at-bats. That is interesting to see. That might be something. I already got Soto and Alonso. Drury might be a fun one to add because he likes hitting. He likes hitting him. So Drury, D-R-U-R-Y for Oakland. I mean for LAA. We're taking the Angel in this list when the Angels are hitting so poorly. But hey, and how do the Angels hit lefties? Let me show you. Drury does not do good. 194. So I'm gonna take him right back off the list. Don't care. Don't care. 385 for Nino. You can see the stats here. Pillar, Ward, both way over 350. Wow. Okay. Angels are hitting terribly as a team, but against lefties here recently, got a couple of dudes balling out. So there you go. And we can show you some props for Sears. Earned runs, 2.5. Strikeouts. He's been pitching great. Hits, no. Walks, no. And outs, no. So I don't like him as props. I can't take a side total, none of that, because I don't know who the other pitcher is. So for me, just like the last game, and until we know a pitcher, I got to pass on this one and move on to the next one. All right, next game, we got Boston and the LA Dodgers. Dodgers are a slight favorite, 8.5 is your total. Looking at this, 41.7 Nerfy based on what they've done this year, 3.7 to 307 for Boston. Great in average, not good in runs. Dodgers 5.3 and 262, so not really much of an advantage either way. So this, look at the pitchers. We got Pivetta going out there with a 4.18 with a 1.14. You can see he hasn't faced the Doyas, but you can see he had Gem 3.35, Gem 4. So he's either going to throw a gem or he's going to give up 3 or 4 runs. There you go. Stone, on the other hand, hasn't faced Boston, 3.26 at a 1.23 average. You can see 4.4. So yeah, we can expect most likely a couple runs out of each pitcher. So, but these bats, they're both pretty decent. So nothing's really standing out. I can't take a side. I can't take a total. I'm not taking a Nerfy with these pitchers and these bats. I can't do it. So see if the props tell us anything. We'll start with Pivetta. Pivetta against the Dodgers recently or historically. Ohtani has 2 home runs and 9 at bats and 4.44 average. Yeah, I mean, Ohtani has to go on the list. It's going to be that meme that says, "Oh, I spent all night in the lab and I came up with Ohtani, Alonso, and Soto." That's going to be the meme. Biggio has 2 home runs and 17 at bats. Freeman has 1 home run and 20. They're batting 400. Yeah, I mean, look at the numbers. I mean, Teoscar is not batting that well. He's just not doing good against Pivetta. But outside, you can see all the stats and all the numbers. How did the Dodgers hit righties? Let me show you. You can see Ohtani 325, 297, 320. You see the numbers there. Let's look at some props. Pivetta earned runs. Yeah, he gets rocked a little bit. Strikeouts. I can't do that. Hits. Oh no. Walks. Boots. I can't do any of those. So nothing there. Let's look at Stone. Stone against Boston dudes. Only 6 total at bats. Wong he went 1 for 3. Abreu 0 for 3. How does Boston hit righties? Well, here you go. 295, 277, 287. I mean, nothing truly stands out. I mean, we got 300 for Ishida. Nothing truly. I mean, yeah. The Devers has 20 home runs against righties. So, and let's look at the props. Earned runs, strikeouts. No. Hits. No. Walks. No. And outs. His outs are up and down too. So okay, I can't even take a prop in this one. Wow. Okay. Um. Okay, that makes it difficult. I didn't like any of the props. I don't really. I'm putting Ohtani on the home run list. That's all I'm doing in this one because I don't like the size. I don't. Both pitchers are about the same to me. What's this total? 8.5. I don't like that either. So, all right, I don't like anything in this game. I'm going to pass on everything. Ohtani will go on my home run list, but outside of that, pass, move on, next game. All right, last game, Houston and Seattle. We have it basically pick them slight favorite, Seattle in the numbers. Total 7 on the over-under. Ooh, that's low. Batting, we see 3 runs a game for Houston while batting 229 versus Seattle 2.7 for 198. And Seattle is always bottom 3 in strikeouts is what they do. So looking at pitchers, we got Luis Castillo going out there. Has not faced Houston, but he likes to give up runs. So he had a gem last game, 6 innings, pretty good. He's been good in July. June was rough, but he had a good July. So, and Hunter Brown has not faced Seattle, but he's been a beast outside of this game. He just saved up all his runs. He just gave them out in one game. That's what he did. So, and then he bounced back against Texas, pretty decent game. So, I would lean Hunter Brown just because I think he's better. Looking at the bats, I would lean Houston, right? They're about the same. I mean, I can't even lean Houston. They're not that good. I mean, they're both bottom 10 in the majors. That ain't good. So let's see. Brown's pretty good. Castillo is, he's been good in July. Let's look at the props, see if anything stands out. Castillo. We see his number against Houston. Houston, Jordan has 2 home runs and 12 at bats. That's interesting. That is interesting. Jordan, welcome to the home run list, buddy. With a 500 average, yeah, I'll do that. Bregman, no. Nothing's really standing out. A lot of red. How does Houston hit righties? Here you go. 289, 204. You can see the stats here. Altuve's 300. You can see the numbers there. Let's look at some props. Outs, it's 18.5. That under might be a play, especially if I think Houston tees off a little bit on them. Strikeouts. I can't do strikeouts. Hits, no. Earned runs, 1.5. That's it. Walks. Okay. Huh. So 18.5 is saying they expect him to go. I want under. There we go. Under 18.5. That's a pretty high odds, but still, that's what, over 6 innings? And he's only done it. He's only completed 6 innings. 6, 6, 7. Does he make the 7th inning is the question. Does he make it? I don't think he does. I think I'm going to go under 18.5 POs. Because everybody's fresh, bullpen's fresh, everybody's good. We're off a break. I think he gets his 6, he gets out. He might not even make 6 because Houston might tee off on him. So, and then we'll look at Hunter Brown, how he's done against Seattle. No home runs ever, not a single one, but not many at bats. Let's be honest. Rodriguez 400 is the best you're going to get. 500 against Ross. Yeah, nothing is really. Raleigh does not do well. 143. Against Raleigh, so he's not on a home run list. Not a chance. And how does Seattle hit righties? Here you go. You can see the numbers. There you go. Nothing stands out there. Whoa, what is this? Over 17.5. So Hunter Brown is just going to do 6 innings. They don't care what happens. Okay. Brown over 17.5 pitching outs. Okay, I mean, last 20. Let's see, last 10, just 100%. I mean, I'll rock with it. I'll ride with it. Why not? Yeah. Strikeouts, we'll look at. Nope. Hits. Nope. Earn runs. Load. Even the computer's struggling because the heat. Oh, hits. We're almost done, though. We're almost there. Okay, so. Okay, the only thing, I'm not taking a side. I'm not taking a total. I'm not taking a Nerfy. Only thing, I'm going to take 2 props. I'm going to take. Jordan's going to join the home run list with Ohtani, Alonso, and Soto. What a lineup. I'm going to take under 18.5 pitching outs for Castillo and over 17.5 pitching outs for Brown. And that's it. Okay, that's it. All 14 games broken down. It's a struggle. It is hot in here, as you can probably tell. So let's do the quick recap, get out of here. Drop a like, subscribe, share, put in the comments what you're taking today, because I might have missed something and you might have saw it. So point out the good stuff for everybody so we can tell you. So for the recap, Arizona, Chicago, Steele, I'm taking his pitching outs over and his strikeouts over. Philly and Pitt, I'm taking the Philadelphia money line. It will go in the money line parlay. Cincy and Washington is a pass. I don't like that game. Tampa Bay, New York, I'm taking the Nerfy, and we're going to take Eflin under 1.5 walks. Detroit and Toronto, I'm taking Detroit money line. San Diego, Cleveland, I'm taking the Nerfy. I'm taking Waldron over 17.5 pitching outs. New York and Miami, we're going Cabrera over 3.5 hits allowed. New York Mets on the money line. They will go in the parlay as well. St. Louis, Atlanta, St. Louis money line as a dog. Gray over 5.5 strikeouts. Baltimore, Texas, I'm going Nerfy and Evaldi over 17.5 pitching outs. White Sox and Royals, I'm going Flexen over 16.5 pitching outs. Stanford and Colorado is a pass. LA, Oakland is a pass. Boston Dodgers is a pass. Houston, Seattle, we're going under 18.5 pitching outs for Castillo and over 17.5 pitching outs for Brown. I am all over some pitching outs now. Whoever put me on that, thank you, because I love these things now. So moneyline parlay. I only took 4 money lines. Typically, I would not put any dogs in this. I usually put favorites, but I only have 4 today because I have Philly and I have the Mets. So I'm also going to add St. Louis to it, and I'm also going to add Detroit to it. So we're going to have Philly, New York Mets, St. Louis, Detroit is my 4-team money line parlay, only a unit, nothing crazy. The home run dudes, if you want to know that one, I'm putting Soto, Alonso, Ohtani, and Jordan. That's it. Jordan. Yeah. Very crafty. I was in the lab all night. This is what I came up with. I'm taking those 4 dudes. I'm going to put 0.1 on all of them, and I'll probably put 0.05 on all of it as a parlay. So, hey, not much. These are fun. That don't count towards a record. Those are fun. So, other than that, we're done. Like I said, drop a like, subscribe, share, comment below, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.